The Betterment Junkies.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am Mr. White.
Mr. Black.
And we are the Betterment Junkies. And welcome back, Mr. Black. Dude, it's been like a year since we've been on this podcast.
I know, I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever either.
Yeah, and just a fair warning, because I know you've been a little sick, but I've been really sick, so my throat is sore. I might be coughing, but I'm going to champ through this. I got my Halls and my Vicks.
It's the fucking weather. I was telling you this earlier, I can't do this cold anymore. Like, I gotta move somewhere sunny.
I mean, I'm still a winter baby. I still like the winter, and I wish.
You're weird. You like all the seasons and shit, right?
Yeah, you get the change. You always say you don't know like one side without the other side, right? Like you don't know if it's actually bad if you don't know what good is. So you don't know what cold is if you don't know what warm is.
Yeah, but if you experience it once, then I feel like, all right, I know what that
is. You're one and done.
Yeah, I had to pick up my dog and carry him, and then break like a poop circle for him.
A poop circle.
And then carry the poor guy across the street again. And he's in double layers too.
You put a jacket on him?
He's got a sweater and a winter coat on top of that. And now I gotta go buy him boots because like it's like glass under his paw.
He is so princessy.
Yeah, but it's like -1 degree.
It is pretty cold.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
It's been
I can't wait to move to Texas or some shit.
In Texas, no.
Yeah.
Texas, cold. You know what all this reminds me of is football. Because yesterday was a crazy day for football, and I'm going insane. I was forced to bet, and you know I don't bet because I'm not a lucky person. And my family got like in this betting pool of who's going to make it to the Super Bowl. And I had ended up picking the Patriots and the Saints. And Patriots won in Patriots fashion. It was a crazy game. Both games went. I know you don't watch as much football, so both games were championship games to go to the Super Bowl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them went into overtime. Both of the games, like that. Come on, like you can't get better than that. And then obviously Patriots won. I picked the Saints, and the Saints should have won to go to the Super Bowl, but they missed a pass interference call. And the refs didn't throw a flag, so it was.
They were playing the Rams, right?
Yeah, they were playing the Rams, and just completely botched the call. They admitted it after the game that they missed the call, and it was just, this is why I don't gamble. This is why I don't fucking gamble. It's like everything would just work against me no matter what. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Super Bowl.
What I was telling someone else at work is like I'm in Connecticut, so everyone here is a Patriots fan. But I was saying is like I remember watching the Super Bowl in high school, and knowing that the Patriots are like this undefeatable team or like this amazing team, and that's still continuing now to this day.
Oh, absolutely, I mean, dude. The dude is 41 years old, and he's still going back.
Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, Tom Brady.
I'm not a fan of football, and I still recognize the longevity of their like reign as Super Bowl champion.
It's a
like how many have they won so far?
So Tom Brady himself I believe is going to be his 9th Super Bowl appearances. Only a certain few teams only have like 9 Super Bowl or more appearances as like a team history. This is just one man on one team going 9 times, and this is his 3rd time in a row. He went back to back these last 3 years. And then, like, in mid-2000s, he did the same thing. He went back to back Super Bowls. These are, like, the most impossible things to do, especially in the NFL. I know a lot of people want to say, like, Patriots cheated and they did all this. Yeah, there were some things they got caught red-handed with. But there is no way, like, even if they got caught red-handed and they got caught cheated for 1 year, what about the next year they went back to the Super Bowl? Or the year after that? What about once they were caught and they still had to win and they still did win and went back to the Super Bowl again and again?
I mean being an outsider, like that many wins, it just seems undeniable at a certain point.
Yeah, and I get the fatigue. Like, I have, I know Mr. Black, but I'm getting married, so I'm meeting extended family. Hooray! Congrats! Thank you. So I met my fiance's like little cousins, and they're no older than 10 years old, And the kid was so frustrated. He's like, my entire life, the Patriots have been going to the Super Bowl. This dude is talking about his entire life. But that's how good they've been. They've been going back for like
You
eight,
think that's
9 years.
primarily due to Tom Brady?
Well, the
Like, you take
coaches.
Tom Brady out of the equation, and that's not possible anymore?
I wouldn't say it's not possible because the coach Bill Belichick, he's a really good coach. Like
Okay.
he's
So it's
he,
not just like a one player. I don't think you could do that in football. You can't just have one star player. Football
well,
seems to be a team sport to the extreme.
it does. I mean, because if you don't have a good defense, you can't just solely rely on offense. So it is a team balanced sport. Once you have both well rounded offense and defense, you're gonna do great, and you might even win the Super Bowl without an elite quarterback. But
Hmm.
quarterback is one of the most important positions as well. That's your like on-field manager. That's how you score points and that's how you win games. And he's the coach on the field, pretty much the
Gotcha.
coach next to the coach. So
Yeah.
if you don't have a high IQ quarterback like Tom Brady is, and he's very high IQ, meaning he's like he can. Remember we played Madden once, and I showed you it's not just hiking the ball and throwing it. There's
Yo, that game is
defensive
complex as
yeah, there's
fuck.
defensive strategies, the way the defensive lines up. You have to figure out if they're going to blitz. If they're going to blitz, you have to make sure you put your running back in position to block for you. Otherwise, you're going to get sacked. Like all these things it's a very mental game. And
Hmm.
there's a lot of young quarterbacks that are doing it first, second, third year, which is really impressive nowadays. But this dude is 41 years old. He doesn't run. If he gets hit, he's probably going to break a rib. And the dude is going back to a Super Bowl. It,
That's
you
fucking
can't
great.
you just can't deny it. He has 5 Super Bowl rings. Nobody in the history of NFL has 5 rings.
Damn. And is it okay? So like, that reminds me of that Michael Jordan commercial where for 2K at I don't know 15, and he's just showing off the rings on his hands.
I
I'm
mean,
assuming that it's harder for an NFL player to get as Super Bowl rings instead of an NBA championship. You know what I'm trying to say?
well, I do know what you're trying to say. They are very both difficult, but one NBA superstar can make a difference on an NBA team compared to one NFL superstar on an NFL team.
So which is more impressive? Michael Jordan's however many rings he has. How many rings does he have?
He
Like
has 6.
seven,
He has
six.
6. So Michael
So Michael
Jordan,
Jordan's 6 or Tom Brady's 5. Well,
see,
actually, no. Let's say Tom Brady wins this one, and Tom
so now he
Brady's
has
6,
6.
and
Yeah.
then Michael Jordan's 6. Which is more impressive in your eyes?
See, that's tough because Michael Jordan went to 3 straight finals, won all 3, retired for about a year and a half to 2 years, came back, went to another 3 straight finals, and won all 3, and then did his own thing. So like the man just like won. It wasn't
Hmm.
there was no rust, no pause, no nothing. He came in, he conquered, and he bounced. Like so
It was
that's
solely
like
on him.
it
He
was so
demonstrated that.
yeah, yeah. Like without him, when he left, they didn't get back to the finals. So
Hmm.
so yeah, it shows a lot about Michael Jordan. But it's hard to judge because Michael Jordan can make that difference as a one man player. And
Well,
hands
Tom
down,
Brady is a quarterback. Like,
yeah,
I
but
mean, I
hands
feel
down,
like
Michael Jordan
that's
is the more athletic person if you want to compare the two. But something about Tom Brady, you just can't not put up there with Michael Jordan because he does the game winning drives. He brings them back when they're down. I mean, the Super Bowl against the Atlanta Falcons, they were down 28-3.
hmm.
As much as Bill Belichick coaches and make sure the defense gets coached right, and as much as play calling he does, if Tom Brady doesn't read the defense and call audibles on the fly, there is no driving up the yards and getting a touchdown and getting the scores that he needs. So it's
I want
tough.
to
I
hear more
gotta
about this, but I need to hear a definitive statement from you.
ah they're two different sports. The thing is, like, I'm
Which is
still into
more like, no, they're both great, but like, which is more impressive within taking into account the age, the actual sport they're playing.
yeah,
Um,
I might have to say Tom Brady.
really,
Yeah,
that's more impressive.
I might. I know that's gonna. Oh my God, you put me in this spot. But the thing is, I'm a big LeBron fan, so like I'm still conflicted on LeBron, MJ, which one's better.
Hmm.
So I think I gotta go Tom Brady. And I'm originally from New England. You're in New England now, but I was born in
Yeah.
New England, so I've been
Hmm.
a New England fan. And when I was like got into football, Tom Brady was the quarterback of the Patriots. So I
Yeah.
fell in love with Tom Brady from like Super Bowl one when he beat the Rams and he came back. And the Rams were a really good team back then. So he won
But I
his
wonder,
first.
like, Tom Brady is coming up to the point where he has 5 Super Bowl rings.
Yeah. Eight.
But the thing is, that's unprecedented. Like, no other player has that, right?
Well, not 5, but Joe Montana is a quarterback that's revered as like when you say Tom Brady as the best, sometimes people say no, Joe Montana is better than you could put Tom Brady. The reason is I believe Joe Montana has 3 or 4 Super Bowl rings, and I don't know if he went back to back, but every Super Bowl he went to, he won. So basically, he didn't lose any Super Bowl. So, but Tom Brady has lost 3 Super Bowls out of the 8. He's won 5, lost 3. But the dudes went to 8 Super Bowls. That's also unprecedented. Now he's going to his
that's
9th.
an achievement in itself.
Yeah, and he's going to his 9th now.
I'm just wondering because, like, obviously you can't deny Michael Jordan's social impact. Tom Brady definitely has it too.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Like Michael Jordan was on a whole nother level of superstardom because, just like you said, the social impact, the Jordan brands. Tom Brady's not. He doesn't have all that flashy off the field stuff like Michael Jordan did. He doesn't really impact the way Michael Jordan did.
But I think that comes down to just being an outsider with all the sports stuff. It's just that basketball, Michael Jordan was more of an individual. But now with the Patriots, exactly what I said, it's the Patriots. Like, I don't know, football seems much more of a team-dependent sport as opposed to basketball.
So your answer to the question would be that Michael's feat was more impressive.
I think so.
Okay. I can't argue. I can't argue that.
Because I don't know, just because the fact that you said that he won 3, took a break, they didn't win in that break, and then he came back and won 3, just kind of demonstrates how definitively his impact was on the game. Less players on the court, so more responsibility per player.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I think I may be on full-on football season mode right now, so I may be leaning towards the Super Bowl era right now. But yeah, I can't argue your decision.
Yeah. Oh, did you speaking of sports, did you hear? I think it happened last week. Trump and the whole McDonald's thing.
Yeah, I did.
I think, was that a high school team?
No, it was a college team. College football. I believe, yeah, college football team that won the national championship, which was Clemson, I believe. So whoever wins the national championship, just like in sports, in professional sports, the team that wins gets to go to the White House. Now,
every team, or is it just that?
No, it's every team. So even for NFL and NBA and MLB, yeah. So usually they have like a fancy dinner and stuff like that. They meet the president, and obviously it was during the government shutdown. So this dude orders a bunch of fast food, Wendy's, McDonald's. I mean, it's.
And he said, like, the other thing that got me was a couple things. One thing is he like bragged that he was paying for it.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna pay for it and you're a self-proclaimed billionaire, at least go Applebee's.
At least go Applebee's.
Like, at least, like, come on. And then the other point is,
I don't know if that's better.
I don't know. I mean, it's somewhat better. Like you at least know that it costs more than $1 per sandwich.
$1 per sandwich.
I know. And the
dollar menu.
I don't know. And the other thing that got me was these are professional athletes who are the top of their game nutritionally and exercise, and you're just gonna throw fast food at them off of the peak period.
I don't think it goes that deep. I think the main issue is that regardless of it's his own money or not, he's like extravagant. Well, it wasn't extravagant because it was fast food, but the article I read it was a blatant like disgust because the government wasn't shut down. A lot of people were not getting paychecks, and here he is like feeding fast food. It was some sort of article right that it took a weird spin on it, but it was the whole story was weird altogether.
Yeah, it's like I'm not outraged about it. I feel a little bad for those athletes because it's like a once in a lifetime opportunity at the White House. I feel a little bad. The whole situation is kind of funny. Some people are like, this is outrageous. I can't believe the president would disrespect, like, you know, like all
Yeah,
that shit. I'm not like that, but it's just like, I think it's hilarious.
it was funny. He's been on the news doing some stupid shit recently. And
Yeah, I
there's
mean, today
some,
is the 31st day of government shutdown.
yeah, man. I shouldn't make fun of it, but there was a little funny meme where it said like government shutdown. It had all the checklist of an apocalypse, and then at the end of it said worst apocalypse ever because nobody's doing shit. So like it, the government shutdown thing, I've been a little sick, so I haven't followed up on the news as much as I would like to on it.
hmm
Clearly, it's not something that affects my family directly. Otherwise, I definitely would know more about it. Is that something that you kept on track with?
Kind of. I mean, I looked at some stories and I just got like, I looked at one from a TSA agent and it's just gotta be humiliating, like somewhat humiliating. Like I feel like some people feel that way because you can't just quit because this is a job. It's not just like a come get your paycheck type of thing. It's like you quit and you may not have your job when the government comes back on. So you have to maintain working, but then also you're not getting paid. So it's just I'm assuming this is such a horrible feeling of having to go spend 8 hours of your day that could be used going something like Ubering or some shit, but you have to maintain this bullshit job and not get paid for it. Like I can't imagine what that must feel like.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I can't imagine the people. Yeah, like
But the thing
do
is,
you
like, I
remember we
don't
talked?
know how to prevent it because it's just like the Democrats are like, no, we're not paying for this fucking wall, and then Trump is psychotic. So then, not psychotic, dumb, but like a part of me, every time I go through the same loop where I'm like, first I'm like, the Democrats are just giving what he wants, but then what he wants is a $5.6 billion wall.
Yeah,
So then you
they
can't blame the
can't.
Democrats for anything. It's just
It's
I
such
don't
a
know.
weird standstill, and like, who stands stills for a wall? Like, there are so many more important things to do in this world except put a wall between you and Mexico.
I
It
think it's
it
because Trump has
irritates
literally
me.
cornered himself. He's cornered himself into this position where he ran his campaign on this platform. It came up against Congress, and now he's standing for it and just trying to blame the Democrats for it.
It's the dumb. The thing is though, it's the idea is so dumb now that after this standstill and this shutdown of government, I think nobody would care if he backed down on it. I think he would still might get reelected if he.
That's where I think, like, even people in my office are thinking along the same lines as you, but I think a lot of times we make the mistake of, like, assuming that majority of America is on our side. I would actually no. I would argue the majority of America is on our side in regards to the wall, but there's a huge population. His core base, which I feel like is still for the wall.
I don't understand why. Like the core base are people who would complain about taxes and people stealing jobs and money not coming in, yet they would rather have us pay a $5.6 billion wall. I like
Well,
what?
$5.6 billion wall would mean jobs coming in to build the wall. I think that's maybe some of their argument for the wall. I mean, I think the wall is very ineffective and not a good idea, but I'm just trying. I know that there are a big population of people out there who actually like full-heartedly want this wall. And do you know what? Trump said something where it's like they built the wall along certain portions of the border, and he was saying that certain those portions experienced less immigration. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I
like,
did. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. He said a couple like dumb shit. Like he had the speech about where he was trying to explain how the wheel is like a first world invention. I mean, not a first world invention, like a a Stone Age invention, the same thing as a wall. And since the wheel works, the wall is going to work too. Like he tried to make it logical. Like it just the things that come out of his mouth. Like I can't stand it.
all right. Well, your opinion on this. Do you think Trump is either a professional bullshitter? Like which category do you think he's? Professional bullshitter, expert brander, or a psycho. Or I'll throw maybe they're just plain dumb.
Those are tough choices because I see all of them in him.
So I don't think he's dumb. I actually don't think he's. I mean, he may not be the most intelligent person.
Yeah,
but
I don't think he's smart either, though. I don't.
No, I think in his own way, he is. And then I don't think. I think maybe there's a. I don't think he's psychotic.
I don't think he's smart. I think he. I don't think he's smart, but not dumb in the sense of illiterate. I think he clearly can understand something even if it's for tricking the system to get to his empire the way it has gone, then so be it. He found the way to do it. He found a different way to do it. So for that reason alone, I can't say fully he's a dumb person. But everything coming out of the presidency in these past couple of years and everything coming out of his mouth, his vocabulary, what he says, his sentences, his advisors, his collusion, everything, it just points to that direction, to how and why are you?
But the thing is okay, so I think I may have told you before, but I reiterated it before. I watched this documentary on Netflix, this 4-part series on each segment, and there was this one politician that he literally stole his entire platform from. He was a former WWE wrestler. 1 second.
Wait, Trump stole his platform for his presidency?
Yeah. Fuck. You'll hear the name, and
from a wrestler.
Yeah, so this wrestler became, I think, a mayor of some town, and Trump literally flew over to talk to him about how he became president, and they literally told him exactly what his current platform is today. Oh, shit, what's his name?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. Yes, Jesse Ventura.
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he is the 38th governor of Minnesota from 1999 to 2003. So he was a WWE wrestler and became the governor. And it was, when you look back on his campaign, it was very similar to Trump. He was the people's person. He was, people were fed up with politics, politicians and politics. So he had the same platform as Trump. Trump literally flew there to meet him to discuss what his campaign was when he was going to run back in 2003 or back in the early 2000s.
Jeez. I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't think
so you think he's almost expertly branding.
Yeah, and the way he talks, his kids talk that way. You could definitely say, okay, maybe they just watched and learned, but I think the way he talks, he's taught his kids to talk that way because he accepts the fact that he doesn't have to address a point. He just says something that lets it wash over. He's able to get through very difficult conversations by saying very broad things.
But it's not. I feel
you gotta say also he used these tactics and he's now the president of the United States, the most powerful position in the world.
That's what every time I want to say he's this yada yada yeah, he's still the president of the United States. But the going back on the language thing, I just don't see how it's expertly branding the way he reacts and the way he speaks in press conferences and with media. It's just all childish to me, very unpresident-like, very unpolitician-like. And I know people are fed up with politics or politicians and things like that, but at some point, don't you want someone at least who can sound intelligent to run your country? He doesn't even sound to me that he's like a sound person.
He sounds genuine.
No.
Which is something. No, he sounds to some people. That's what the poll. He sounds like, yeah, he may not be the most intellectual person, but he sounds like he's not. He's saying everything off the cusp.
I don't want to admit it,
which you can't really give to Obama, though.
What do you mean you can't give to Obama?
Obama was a great speaker, but the more I read about him, the more stuff I learn about him, the more like I'm reading his book right now, and I just feel like he's so well articulated and presents something that's so articulate that I don't know who he really is. But you don't get that with Trump. Like, you feel like you know Trump.
Why?
You know what he is.
Why is when someone articulate, you don't know who they really are? What if that's who they are?
No, what I mean is, like, with Trump, he makes mistakes and he says stupid shit, which everyone does. But an expert politician who never says anything wrong, who's perfectly poised through all conversations, who talks so well with other people, is exactly what politicians are. They're public speakers to level 11. So we're used to hearing people who are perfect speakers. So, I mean,
I get it, and I don't
like,
want to admit it, but the romanticism is there of like, oh, he's just one of us. It's unfortunate. I can't go on Trump anymore. My blood's gonna boil. I'm sorry, like, because I have my own personal opinion about him. Every time I do, and this may be my fault, I have been trying to open my mind up to more Republican news because you watch more Republican news. I've always grown up on Democratic news, so, and I didn't know the difference until I was an adult. But because maybe I watch too much Democratic news and maybe political satire, that I only see a picture of a dumbass donkey. Like, I shouldn't say donkey because that's Democratic, but whatever. But
yeah.
I can't do Trump anymore. I'm sorry.
We'll take him in small doses over these episodes.
I'm just starting to feel better, so once I do more research on his dumbassery, then I'll get back to you on once I know a little bit more.
And then I'll let you know how Obama was a horrible president later.
Dude, come on. What?
The more I look into him,
bullshit.
The more I look into him, the more he seems mediocre or disingenuous or just a cog in the machine to me.
Well, you could then go back to any other president and say that.
No, I think it started at a certain point in time, and it's with the downfall of the Democrats.
What do you mean downfall of the Democrats?
So I mean, Republicans were always supposed to be the party that represented the managers, the elite, the top wealthy people. That's their entire platform. That's what they are. But it only balances out because Democrats are the ones that represent the everyday, hardworking, day-to-day people. But the Democratic Party has switched in recent years, and now they're more geared towards the Republican side as well.
They're not geared towards the Republican side. It's more of and now I understand what you mean, that both political systems may have been perverted, but because you couldn't even say that about Republicans as much as that's what they were built on. Now you could probably see Republicans trying to also appease Democratic policies and ideas, whereas before they wouldn't do that. So you could say that on both sides. I think it's more of a political game than it is a downfall. Well, you could say the downfall of both parties as well. I think eventually, if we keep going like this, government shutdown will be the least of our problems.
Say that last line again.
So, like, the thought behind yours was that Democrats have now switched their ideas and ideals, and they're not fully the minority party. They also now embezzle, and not embezzle. I'm not trying to make them all seem like crooks, even though you can say that, but they all need finances. They all gear towards big companies and corporations, I mean, no matter how you look at it, America is a capitalistic world, so it's going to be run by
Mm-hmm.
capitalistic ideologies. So both parties have to kind of fall in line. Now, Republicans have always been about that idea, true, but if you want to say Democrats have also been switching sides, then you can say Republicans have also been switching sides because now you can see that Republican policies and things that they would be against, they're starting to lean more towards liberals and libertarian ideas. I don't know if I said that right, but that switch happens in both ways. So you can say it's a downfall of both parties. And I believe the last thing I said was like, if it keeps going this way, then the government shutdown is probably the least of our worries.
Yeah, I think it boils down to, in my opinion, the one thing that's the most wrong is people just supporting a cause because their party supports it. Like just trying to win, regardless of what the ideas are. Like Democrats will, if they believe something, not believe, if they're against the Republicans on something, they'll use every argument, even if it's an illogical argument, to go against it. It's just utter tribalism. I think that's the number one reason that this whole thing is caused. And then with the entire switch, I mean, my I need to look into it more as in regards to the history and the purpose of Democrats and Republicans. But I believe that since the Republicans had the more power and the elite and everything and fewer people, Democratic power came in from the workers due to the numbers, like the number of people. So that's what the way it was supposed to be balanced out.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah.
And I consider myself a Democratic person. I usually vote for the Democratic Party. Um, but I will say, like, I do have, I wouldn't say some Republican tendencies, but like I also think like people are complaining and whining too much these days. Like I think people are a little offended by a little too much these days. Like those type of like not political based ideas, but just ideologies that you would have based on the party. I can see myself having from here and there. So what I mean to say by that is I agree with you that people should identify with themselves first before they identify with their party.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And not enough people do that. Like, I don't know. I don't think, if someone asked me right now, I don't think I could say Republican or Democrat. I don't really identify with either party because I'm just not.
No, I
I
think
don't
you
know.
identify more with Republican.
No, not even. It's just like I use Republicans as a tool to test the bullshit of Democrats against. Like,
But you don't actually believe in that?
I believe in some form of the terms that I like more are liberal and conservative. Those terms are a lot more appealing to me than Democrat Republican.
Why
Because
so?
Democrat Republican are just, when you speak of those terms, you're talking about a physical party of people that represent the party. But when you talk about liberal and conservative, there are actually ideas associated with liberal and conservative. Like that to me is a lot more pure. So in that regard, I think I am more leaning towards liberal ideas. But when it comes to finances and the economy, I'm a little more conservative.
Okay.
Yeah, if I had to say it that way.
Okay. No,
I need to look into
I
that
get that.
more. The whole history of it is like fascinating to me. Like, just did you know that Democrats and Republicans, they used to be switched?
What do you mean switch?
Like the party that was for slavery was actually the Democrats.
What?
Yeah, the party switched around the Lincoln era. So all the morals. So actually, if you went back to the Lincoln era with the same morals, you would probably be Republican.
Interesting.
I need to look into it more of why, but that's true. I was like, holy shit.
So maybe that's why Abe Lincoln is still revered as the best president ever.
Yeah. I don't know if he was directly responsible for it. I don't know how that shit happens, but
Honest Abe.
yeah.
But speaking of, you got me actually thinking because about parties and laws and yada yada yada. I recently watched two movies that were historically based. One was Vice, which was about
Uh-huh.
George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, and well, actually, mainly about Dick Cheney and his life. It was literally like a autobiography of Dick Cheney, and he's a very private man. You just gotta watch the movie. I don't want to spoil it. It's actually a really good movie. It's done really well. They do contextualize him and kind of show the person Dick Cheney was and the motivations he kind of ran by. And you don't really, I mean, unless you were, we were young back then when George W. Bush was president and Dick Cheney was vice president. I mean, not fully young, but still young to know too
I
much
mean,
about politics.
I'll be straight up with it. I mean, I wasn't into politics at that time.
Yeah,
I
like yeah,
wasn't following politics at
exactly.
all.
Like I didn't give a shit about it at the
I
time.
remember
So
when Bush was running for president in school. I voted for him because he wore a blue tie, and I like blue. So,
I
damn.
well, I my
How old was I?
my dad voted for Bush, and I had asked him one
Yeah.
time too. I'm like, well, why do you like Bush? Why are you voting for him? I remember that. I think the answer I got from my dad was the no child left behind policy thing. I think he really liked that, like the approach Bush was taking,
Hmm.
until it kind of didn't work out the way it was supposed to. But that's a whole different other story. So the
Yeah.
movie is really interesting. How Dick Cheney kind of tries to be president but ends up being vice president, and how he behind the shadows has more of a controlling hand than George Bush ever did.
Hmm.
They really paint George Bush as almost like a dumbass. Like,
Really.
yeah, it's a great movie. You should watch it. And then the other one is a little bit more serious. This one's like a specific autobiography, but it's about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, but wait, there was a movie about him?
Well, it's a woman, and it's called On the Basis of Sex. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg is someone who lived through like the 60s, 70s, and all that, where women didn't have that many rights, even though women's suffrage had passed and they got the right to vote and things like that. Um, it was an interesting movie. It dragged a little bit, but
What was it called?
the basis of sex.
On
Now,
the
the reason
basis
it's
of
called
sex.
that is because a lot of the case she became a well, she graduated law school and had to become a professor because no one would hire her as a woman. And then her husband was also a lawyer, and her husband was very supportive. So he brought her a case that happened to be. It was interesting because the case in the law in the case stated that it was sexually discriminating against a man who was unmarried and taking care of his ailing mother. He couldn't get tax benefits by taking care of his ailing mother because he was an unmarried man, compared to whereas if it was a woman, she would be able to get tax benefits for ailing for children, or because the law had stated that the women were caregivers. So
Hmm.
she fought these type of cases, brought them to Supreme Court, and like case by case. The case I just told you was actually the first case that set the precedent to basically change sex laws and make it more about gender equality. So she played a big, and then obviously in like around early 2000s, she was voted on to Supreme Court justice as the first woman. So
That's
I,
how I know her.
yeah, the name is familiar. Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't know at first
yeah.
that I learned everything from the movie, so I may sound like an expert. It's just
Oh.
because I watched the movie. My girlfriend was really interested in it, and she knew about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I had heard the name, but I'm like, wait, who is that? But she wanted to go see it. I went to go see it with her, and I learned a little bit of history out of it. So it was pretty cool.
I want see. I would love to watch those movies, and I'm probably going to watch that movie. My only fear is going to the movie, watching the movie, and being like, "Holy shit! I know so much about this now," and then finding out later that 60% of what I saw is actually not real.
Yeah, a
You know what I
little
mean?
probably
Like,
dramatized. Yeah,
but I mean, if you still watch it, you'll get the core concept of it.
yeah, and yeah, they do say based on true story, so yeah, they probably do dramatize things, but there are a lot of true events that happen that are portrayed in there. So it is interesting to see those events, how they may have played out and what they may have dealt with. Like the problem is there. Clearly the
Yeah,
problem is there. So those are two good historical movies. It just reminded me from all the government talk because
yeah.
those are the like two recent movies I saw too. But I did see Glass.
Oh shit! How was
Yeah, I
that?
also saw Glass. Glass was I really liked it. I mean, It got mixed reviews, but I thought it was really well done, and I could
Better
not.
than Split.
Uh, yes, because
Okay.
it added all three characters.
So
Split
I
was
didn't
good.
watch the first one.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
That's also very good. A little bit old school Sixth Sense vibe type thing, but still a great movie. Um,
Do
I
I need
like
to
it.
watch that in order to understand Glass?
Kinda. Yeah, you do.
All right,
Because you
fuck, I'll
need to
watch
know
it.
Bruce Willis's character.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will do my research beforehand then.
But like as I was watching the movie, I was catching myself like not just by the story, but riveted by their performances, especially James McAvoy. You saw
Yo, he's
Split.
sick as Split. Yeah,
I
he's
just
fucking.
could every like and the man should get an Oscar for it. I really think so. Like every single personality, it's distinct, and you can see it come out, and the quirks and his face, just amazing. It was
Like
really good.
he's able to change characters and not say a word, and you know
It's
who he
it
changed
and
into.
the accents, the different characters have different accents. It's just everything flawless, absolutely flawless. It was a really good movie. It was
Yeah, I
absolutely a
watched
really
that
good
movie I
movie.
think like 2 or 3 times. That was fucking epic.
It was really good. So that was my eventful week and a half, and also I got sick. But I mentioned earlier, I'm getting married, Mr. Black.
Yeah, dude. How the fuck do you feel?
Um, Good. I should say good because she's gonna hear this, so I feel great.
I
No,
don't know. That
but
sounded a little disingenuous there.
no, we both feel great. It's definitely something we were working towards. It's been a long road, because we are Indian, so this wasn't a traditional way of how Indians do it, and it is completely new, and it's not an arranged marriage. It's more of a love marriage. Um, but I think I'm ready. I'm old
Well, it's
enough.
kind of a mix. I would say it's a mix between arranged marriage concepts and dating, wouldn't you?
How so?
Like, okay, the selection process was done through dating, right? But the
Yeah,
implementation is more similar towards
arranged
arranged
marriage.
marriage.
Because we're Indian, we kind of well, well, that's not true. Because like certain other races
Well,
at a
okay,
certain
just to
age.
give people like a broad stroke of what's going on, it's like you guys have known each other for a while and you were dating and your parents, I mean, you can take it from there as much as you want to share.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think in a couple of different podcasts we've shared that being Indian and dating is a very difficult road. So
Hmm.
it's not something my parents really knew about. But when we brought it up front and forth, it was not something that they were on board with right away. So
Yeah.
it was a struggle to get them on board. But now that they're on board, everything's kind of moving very quickly. So it's overwhelming. A lot of family is getting involved. People have opinions. People want different things. Overall, they are happy, and that's what makes us happy. That everyone else is happy for us. But it is getting stressful. I'm not gonna lie. Um, but it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's an experience. I'll let you know how the experience is when I'm done with it. I
Yeah, let me
can't.
know like if it's worth it.
It's maybe in like 10 years I can give you that answer.
All right, I'll wait till the
Yeah,
verdict
wait.
before I make any moves.
The Bachelor
Dude, my
Life
my parents once they find I haven't told them, but once they find this out, they will be
on
down to
your
talk about
ass.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be a. Why don't you get married? Why don't you meet a nice Telugu girl? God, you
I
know what? I
mean,
feel like I am actually racist against Indian people.
I felt myself being racist against Indian people.
Like I
I can
feel it
see
in
what
my
you mean.
chest, like just this like dislike.
What's your dislike? What is your pure hatred?
I don't know. You know, it can only be classified as racism. Like I've looked at it in multiple ways of my feelings about this, and I have different theories of how this originated. But I can relate with like Southern white people who hate black people. Like you know what I mean? Like I just I sometimes I just get this general distaste for Indian people.
No, I get it though. I do understand it. It's unfortunate, but I do understand it. I think if the way we're describing it, if you're not Indian, you're probably just like, what the fuck? But if you're Indian, you kind of get it.
No, this is not a self-hating thing
It's
because
not.
I'm
It's not.
cool with me, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like this still some of this rebellious nature left over from my high school days, or another theory could be what's the word um what's the word when you hate someone else's success?
Jealous? Envy?
Not jealous.
Envious?
That's another way. Resent. You
Oh.
resent. You resent the culture that is inherently successful, and maybe you don't feel inherently successful and have had such an easy time getting your success. So what you resort to is just resenting the entire race.
I get it. Yeah.
You know what I
I've
mean?
I've had those phases. Yeah.
You know,
I
like
wished
fuck you and your medical degree. Fuck you and engineering and
Yeah.
straight A's and what? You never flunked a class? Like
I've
get out of here.
so my coworker is African American, and
Yeah.
I have told like we both asked the question before, if we were born another race, like what race would we like to be born? He said Hispanic because he's obsessed with Hispanic people, but my answer to him, and the reason I'm putting that context is because I don't sound racist saying this, but my
Hmm.
answer to him was, I wish I was born black because then all I would have to do is make it out of the hood, and I can do that. So like, I get what you mean. Like, I resent my own
That,
sometimes.
first of all, is the wrong answer. The right answer is Jewish, and then you move on. Or white. I mean, I'll just take white in general.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with white. White male, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's pretty standard. I mean, I don't think I've experienced any racism except for the racism that I dish out to my own people, but um, I don't know.
I mean, I've definitely experienced racism, but that's
Really? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think the racism falls?
I mean, I wouldn't say like the extreme. The extreme would be like people writing on your cars and houses, people bothering you in your private properties, and those are extremes
Well, no,
that
I
I
think
would.
those would be like 7s. I think, like, maybe getting beat up would be like a 10.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
but
there's
like
extreme racism where it
n-
actually evolves into
I wouldn't say
action.
sevens, maybe eight and higher, because a threat
Okay,
on your life
yeah.
is also like mentally and like
Yeah.
psychologically,
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah, so not on that level. I would say maybe like a five, like experience racism in the form of like quiet racism. Like you
Hmm.
kind of know it's happening because you're not white, but you can't prove it, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess my um like I've experienced it at work. And on a previous podcast, I had explained the story. Um, I used to work in the IT field, and we had to study their program and basically get a basic knowledge of it and then pass a test. Once you pass the test, you're eligible for a promotion. Now, I had passed the test the very first time. There was an older white male who was slower on the phones, had less responsibility than I did, was less like just everything than me, underperformed than me on everything, failed the test twice. Once he passed, he was immediately promoted, and I was still stuck where I was. So
Hmm.
like at one point, like, and then when you talk to other minorities in the same workforce, they feel the same way. So you kind of get almost justified in feeling like, all right, these people are just being racist towards me. Like, what am I doing so wrong?
Yeah.
So
I don't
I
think I've experienced maybe it in ones, maybe a 2, but I don't think I've ever experienced it to that level.
I've experienced that like mind psychological racism type of threatening level during 9/11. It wasn't really racist. Well, I guess I have had people in school say like go back where you came from. People make like the Apu voice from The Simpsons,
Hmm.
making fun of the red dot. I used to laugh it off as a kid, because I was a kid, didn't really understand it. I just wanted to be part of the joke. I didn't want to be the joke, so it would just kind of come off as like laughing off with them. Now that I look back on it, it was some very racist things that were mainly attacked towards me because I was the brown kid in the class.
But was
And
it really like, I don't know, was it really like racism,
I mean,
or is it just making fun?
it was kids being kids. Yeah, I'll give you that, but
No,
it
I mean, even take it to the context of now. You also joking about it. Like, people with people at work. Like, I've used my race to make people laugh and be
oh yeah,
racist
for
towards
sure.
myself.
For sure.
I mean, and then if they laugh, are they racist? No. Like, usually racist jokes, that self-inflicting racist jokes, are hilarious because you give the other person permission to laugh at stuff that they already know.
Yeah. No,
You know
I
what I
agree.
mean?
I agree.
Yeah.
But that's you doing it to yourself. When people are doing it to you and now you don't want to be part of the joke, that's kind of, that there's a difference
But
in that.
taking what you're saying now, applying it to an adult situation, if they were to say a racist joke and then you laughed, then
Then now I've
how would you
given
determine whether it was racist? You know what I'm trying to say?
no, no, I do get that, and this is kind of the problem I run into my current workforce. My current workforce is filled with minorities. Now, we don't have a lot of people because I work in banking, so we don't have a lot of people in our bank. There's a very small group of us, but we're all minorities except one person. So one person is a white male. So now the white person, it seems to be the minority in our workforce. So we always are kind of making jokes about minority jokes or racist jokes that we allow him to laugh into and be a part of. And he himself will make a racist joke about white people. But I think there's an unspoken and written rule where he knows not to make fun of racist jokes about minority people. He can only laugh with us. You
I
get what
fucking
I'm
hate that shit. Yeah,
saying?
I get it. I hate that shit though.
Why?
I fucking hate it. It's so hypocritical, disingenuous, completely spitting in the face of all the progress we've made up until this day. It's just going. It's like that whole thing. I'm not blaming the people or people at your workplace. It's something that's common within the culture that I feel like that needs to be addressed in a larger scale, and it's not anything to do with like your colleagues specifically. But what I'm saying is just like the premise of that is literally going for the definition of what racism is or stereotyping is literally judging someone and then based on that judgment treat them in a negative fashion. Like in that regard, I would argue that there's a general reaction of treating him, the white guy, as someone who has in the past hurt you or done horrible things to you or your ancestors, even though that individual hasn't. And that's the entire point of racism. Like, black people aren't stupid. Maybe you met one stupid black person, but not to judge the entire race. So then you're just repeating the entire thing
No, I
with
get
white
that.
people.
I get
Yeah,
that.
it's just that's what I mean. Obviously, this whole thing is not fleshed out when you're just at work and stuff. And even in my workplace, if the same situation was there, it would still be there. But it just kind of like annoys me how it's still there.
No, no, I get it. That's a very ideologistic, whatever. Fuck it, I can't speak today. It's a very ideal way of looking at it. It almost
Yeah,
sounds like a perfect world, but that's not gonna happen. Let's be honest. We're all a bunch of racist ass people.
that's what I think. Everyone should be equally racist.
Everyone should. I
Everyone
don't think. I
should.
don't know. I don't think that's a good idea either.
I think everyone is racist, but I feel like everyone should be free to express their racism
Well,
comfortably.
okay. Let's pause there. How about that? We've
Let's just
we've
leave it at everyone should be racist. A little
yeah,
more racist. Like tomorrow, just wake up and try to be a little more racist. If you got anything from this podcast,
no,
just
no.
try
I'm
to
not
be a
gonna
little
condone
more.
this message. I'm not getting behind this
This is
message.
Mr. Black
I'm
to all the kids
I
out there.
refuse. I refuse. I'm about to cut this off right now. No, but jokes aside, I get the point that you're making,
Yeah,
but it's too idealistic. Like it's in a perfect world where everyone can see no colors, but who knows we'll ever get there. Who knows?
yeah.
So who knows? Maybe Mr. Black's right. Go be a little bit more racist and maybe you'll have a better time. Anyways,
Yeah.
On that point,
Call
I
out your
think,
black friends.
yeah.
Do it.
Well, make sure you got a head start before you do. So, anything left for you, Mr. Black? I know it's been a while. We've done the podcast, but we're gonna get back on the grind. We're gonna start putting these up. We're gonna start
Yeah, I
doing what
just
we
want
need
to do a
to.
quick breakdown of. I mean, me and you, we did some episodes before. We picked some topics. We're gonna post those episodes, but I think based on our conversation, me and you are both hoping that this is now going to become a regular thing, and we're just gonna start recording and posting them up. And this type of episode where we just kind of talk about what's going on in the news, what's going on with us, we're gonna call these junkie shorts. And the other type of episode we might do are episodes where we pick a topic or something to debate, and those would be called the Betterment topics. And those would be a little more fleshed out, a little more research done to them. I think that's the format we're going to follow. Keep it simple.
Yeah,
And
the
yeah.
TBTs will usually we'll try to keep on track with one topic. On previous topics, we've done something like
Mm-hmm.
immigration and Trump. We try to strictly stay on that topic and kind of
Yeah.
hash out to maybe two different viewpoints or try to teach someone else, or one or the other, who doesn't know as much. But those are the two distinctions that Mr. Black is making, and I hope. Well, we call them junkie shorts, but they're probably going to be like 45 minutes to an hour. But it'll be a
And the
fun
name
45
is
minutes
just
to an
too
hour.
catchy for
It,
something else. Like,
yeah, we
we
couldn't
came
think of
up with
anything
it,
else.
and it's just too fucking catchy that,
Yeah.
okay, this is
So we're
just,
keeping it. We're keeping it.
yeah.
But other than that, we're still on social media, guys. We took a little hiatus, but you can still follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Our Facebook is going to get revamped. Our website is going to get revamped. We are going to post some on YouTube. Our goal is to get admitted onto podcasts on iTunes or maybe other types of formats. So hopefully catch us out there on soon. The Betterment Junkies on YouTube, the Betterment Junkies on Twitter. Please, hashtag, tweet, anything you like, share. We appreciate anything. I'm Mr. White. Again, we are the Betterment Junkies.
Mr. Blank.
Did you just
Black?
say Mr. Blank? You say Mr. Blank?
No, because I was thinking,
You
and then
you
I
totally
subconsciously
fucked
was
that
like,
up.
no. Subconsciously, I was like, holy shit, I can't think of anything. My mind's kind of blank. And then it was my turn
And
to
you
talk, and I said
said
Mr.
blank.
Blank.
All right, cool. This is the
That's
best
what
way. This
happened.
is the best way to come back on top. This is it right here. All right, Mr. Blank and Mr. Blank. We get it because I'm Mr. White. No, okay.
Yeah,
We're just gonna
that
stop.
works.
We're gonna stop.
Yeah.
We're gonna stop. Thank you guys. Thank you for
Mr.
listening.
Wait, do I need to say it?
No, you just stop talking.
All
Can
right,
we
I'm done. All right,
just cut
I'm
this
done.
off? Just cut
I'm
it
done.
off now.
Okay.
All right. Goodbye, Mr. Blank.
Stop.